Good morning, Elevation Health family. This is Dr. Dave Yachter coming to you from the Elevation Health Plantation studio. I have just an interesting story I'll share with you this morning. Quite unusual, and not sure how to say this, but wanted to share it anyway. One lead that has been practice members for the better part of about 20 years or so. They were out of state and they recently moved back, and I've had the privilege of caring for them. This would be the Murray family, Miguel, Emery, who's Miguel's wife, and their four kids, Zipporah, Ocean, Aya, and Serenity. I've been taking care of all of them, and everybody's progressing very nicely, as noted from their feedback, what they've told me, what they've reported as far as their improvements. But something in particular, Miguel was telling me, when he first came in, he had, they do home remodeling, him and his wife, and sometimes the kids help out, but he's the main person that does a lot of the heavy lifting. So he was having problems with his shoulder, his lower back, and and through the examination, we found where the problems were coming from. Started taking care of them, and make a long story short, after a couple of adjustments, he was showing me how he could finally raise his arm over his shoulder. He hadn't been able to do that in a long time, and his lower back pain was just about gone, completely resolved. Just really happy with his results. But the one thing he did not tell me when I taken care of him was a history of hemorrhoids. And of course, when you're doing a lot of heavy lifting, this can be a problem sometimes. But he didn't tell me. He told me that the reason why he didn't tell me is he put chiropractic to the test. So I asked him if he'd be willing to share his testimony, and he said yes. I want people to know that chiropractic works and that chiropractic can help them. So he wrote down his testimonial, and he was raving about the shoulder having full mobility, the lower back pain being gone, and all that, but nothing about the hemorrhoids. So I didn't say anything. I just figured it was a sense topic. And a couple of days later, he said to me, got up off the table. He's like, "So when would you like me to do my testimonial?" With the hemorrhoids I told you about, I didn't say anything, but they're completely gone. And I've had that for years. It's always been a problem, but ever since I've been getting adjusted now for, the last 6 or 8 weeks, I've had no issue at all. So, it really works. And I want people to know about this. So I said, okay, well, we can have you rewrite your testimonial or whatnot. But this morning I was thinking, why not just kind of lay out and unravel and unpack how the whole thing happened, and why I'm sharing this with you right now. The question I'm asking you is, what does chiropractic have to do with hemorrhoids? And again, it's a sensitive subject here, and I wasn't sure how I was going to, talk about this, but Miguel's going to share it, and I'm going to tell you now that I don't have a special adjustment for hemorrhoids, and I'm not saying that you tell people, hey, if you have hemorrhoids, you should try chiropractic care. Some of you may do that. Some of you might. Either way, I'm fine with it as long as you understand how the healing process actually. You see, as I said, I don't have a special adjustment for hemorrhoids. So how is it that through the adjustments, the hemorrhoids have been resolved? Well, it's very, very simple. Remember I told you that he had pain in his lower back, and that pain was coming from 3 subluxations in his lumbar spine. It was L3, L4, and L5. And these vertebrae in particular were shifted out of alignments, putting pressure on the nerves, and it was affecting the base bone on the sacrum below. That was shifted also. So all those nerves don't just feed off to the sensitivity of the nerves, giving you the pain signals, but they also feed off to all the muscles and the organs and the tissues in that area, and not just including the lower back, but the rectum as well, and that whole area that has the muscles that control those functions. So what I did, put those bones back into their normal position very, very gently with a specific chiropractic adjustment. I moved the bone and took the pressure off the nerve. This is a gradual process. It's kind of like watering a plant. And as the patient gets more and more nerve supply to those damaged tissues, they're able to repair and regenerate and heal. Law number one is healing takes time. Miguel gave this time. He put the test. And what he found out was the power that made the body is healing us. And so that comes down to one thing. You and I, if we were to die tomorrow, would we have a heart? Yes. Would we have lungs? Yes. If you were dead tomorrow, you'd still have a stomach. You'd still have a liver. You'd still have knees. But what would you not have if you were not alive? And the answer is simple: life. And that's what we're working with here. Life resides in the brain, and it flows from the brain down the spinal cord, out through the spinal nerves, and feeds off to every cell, organ, and tissue in your body. And that's what allows everything to continue to function and heal. And it knows what you need, where you need it, when you need it, and how much of it is needed in order to repair and regenerate and get you to your best. How many of you watching this want to be at 100% of your God-given potential? I know. Well, that's impossible if you have subluxation. If the life and the healing energy is coming through the nerve channels and that's being blocked off, it's absurd to think that you could be functioning properly and heal properly. It doesn't matter how many vitamins you take, how much you exercise, how well you eat, vegan diet. The central processing unit for your body is your brain and your spinal cord. And if that's compromised, everything else is for naught. So how is it to make sure those nerves are clear so your body can express 100% life as long as possible? And that's the big question when it comes to chiropractic care. Not just is it working and how is it working, but how long do you want it working for? And I started this telling you that these are patients. This has actually been under care for probably about 20 years, going on 20 years or so. And the vast majority of the people in our practice are on their way to doing the same thing. I'm going on my 28th years. So I wanted to share this with you so you understand the crux of what your care is all about. And we always talk about different things. We look at X, we look at tests, we look at scans, and the objective part is very, very important. But an overall understanding of where health and healing comes from is even more important, because your thinking determines your decisions, and the decisions that you make are going to determine your results. And so we want to get you better results. So we have to show you how to make the right decisions. And if the right decisions is going to be evident in our lives, then that has to start with right thinking. And that's the purpose of these videos. That's the purpose of why always helping our patients understand as much as they can about health, because not only able to get these results, but more importantly, keep the results. And as I always say, thank you for joining me today. I love and appreciate you. God bless.